We are back with Randy, and please come closer to me because we are talking about so many things right now. And the last thing he told me was that he can explain anything to me because, how did you say it?
It's kind of Einstein had this thing. I'm not going to quote it correctly, where if I can't explain something to a smart person, that I don't really understand it.
Yeah. So that's kind of, well, you're online for a second day already. You know that I don't really know a lot about technology stuff and deep technology stuff. So that's a challenge for you. Believe me, that's a challenge. Anyway, we just saw you on stage, and I mean, some of the people saw you on live stream and some of them just missed, and they just probably turned on the YouTube and found it, and hello, good people, pretty looking people talking on the stage. Let's see what's happening. So what was your presentation about and what did they miss?
So the presentation was called Moving Fast at Scale. And the idea was to look at what high-performing organizations do that less high-performing organizations don't, like sort of what's the difference, and try to be clear about those things. So I talked about 5 different areas. The first part I talked about was the culture of the organization, where you have to have a culture where people are willing to speak up and willing to bring their own selves to work. It's called psychological safety, where it turns out that the highest performing organizations have a culture where everybody feels like they can be themselves at work, whether it's, and I don't mean that just in a work way, I mean like you can bring your gender, you can bring your sexual orientation, you can bring your politics to work, and you're not going to be hated for it, right? Okay. And why does that work? Why does that help in business? It's because it also means if I trust the people on my team in that way, I'm way more willing and able to have conversations about, well, what software should we build and how are we going to build it? Does it make sense? Like we just have that trust, and so we can be very open and honest with each other like friends.
Common sense.
Yeah, common sense. Okay, so we talked about culture. The next thing we talked about was organization, and again, one of the things that the high-performing organizations do is they don't. So Google has 50,000 engineers. I used to work there. They don't act like one 50,000 person company. Instead, they act like, I'm making this up, 10,000 5-person companies. Okay. The idea is that you form even a big organization out of small teams that are autonomous. They have some goals and they have all the skills that they need to do their work within the team, as opposed to having to constantly rely on other people. And so they're able to make forward progress independently, and that's how Google works, and Amazon, and Netflix, and a bunch of these high-performing organizations. They keep being able to produce more innovation. They produce more interesting stuff because they don't act like one big monolithic top-down organization. They have just it's like a bunch of small startups essentially.
Okay, so basically, if you're interested in what you're hearing, you can literally just rewind a little bit the same video you're watching right now and see the whole presentation online. It was that important. We streamed it all over. And okay, also you're having a masterclass on Saturday. Yeah, so just shortly, 1-minute talk. What is it gonna be about? Where's my English? And yeah, and why shouldn't we miss it?
Great. So the masterclass is called Scaling Your Architecture with Services and Events. Okay. Services are small units of functionality, and events are when things happen, we notify other parts of the system. And it just turns out that high-performing organizations and big stuff form themselves out of these small units of functionality and events that connect them, and we're going to learn about how to do that all day.